This episode of The Reality Check is brought to you by HelloFresh. Forget takeout. HelloFresh delivers all the ingredients for delicious, healthy meals anyone can prepare at home in less than 30 minutes. And HelloFresh is giving our Canadian checkers 50% off their first order. Go to hellofresh.ca and use promo code REALITY50 to get 50% off your first order. That's hellofresh.ca, promo code REALITY50.
This episode of The Reality Check is brought to you by FreshBooks. FreshBooks is a ridiculously easy-to-use cloud accounting software for small business owners that saves you time and gets you paid faster. Now used by over 10 million people worldwide. For your free 30-day trial, go to freshbooks.com/therealitycheck and enter Reality Check in the How Did You Hear About Us section.
This is your reality check.
Hi everyone, and welcome to The Reality Check, the weekly Canadian show that explores a wide range of controversies and curiosities using science and critical thinking. This is the show for November 21st, 2017, and I'm your host, Darren McKee. With me, as usual, are Adam Gardner.
What's up, Allspark Cuboids?
Christina Roach.
Hello.
And producer Pat.
Hi, everyone.
We have three great segments for you today. Pat is going to give us another game of Name That. And I am going to look into Tilapia and Omega-6.
Ooh.
Sounds like it could be a superhero movie, but it's not. But first, does a Transformers toy have a pro-Trump slogan on it? Adam, shockingly, is going to cover this for us.
A recently released Transformers toy, Jazz, who is considered to be a black character, has a cryptic message written in an alien language on its doors. It's more like an alien alphabet than a language. Fans, being as they are, were able to decipher this message, and, to many people's disappointment, it appears to say MAGA, the abbreviation for Make America Great Again, now President Donald Trump's campaign slogan, which was frequently seen on those cheap-looking red hats. So, what's really going on here? Now, I'm not a huge Transformers fan, but for various complicated reasons, I spent many years trolling Transformers message boards under the username Chopperface69.
Just a second. Listeners don't realize this is the first myth that was just busted, that Adam is not a Transformers fan, because I'm confused right now.
I guess I like the movies, but I don't really have any toys, unless I really thought about it.
I think Adam has a different definition of fan than the average person.
I agree.
Probably that.
Sorry, continue.
Because of those days, I have a number of friends in the Transformers fan community, which is how I became aware of this and some of the details of this whole affair. Now, the toy in question is Autobot Jazz. This is a recently released Transformers Power of the Primes toy. On his door in vehicle mode, and this is a transformer, meaning he transforms from a car into a robot, under his Autobot symbol, you can see these four symbols. These symbols are Autobot script, which are symbols seen in some episodes of the 1980s Transformers cartoon. A fan font based on this was used in 2007 for an online game, which has since been referenced as the Autobot written language. Now, one fan posted an image of the symbols on this door to Twitter, complaining that it was too small to decipher, and then another fan gave it a go and posted his translation stating, "I better be wrong about this," and he translated it to MAGA, MAGA, Make America Great Again. So, is he wrong about this? Let's look at that. Now, the letters are hard to make out. That's absolutely true. The second and fourth letters look more like an A than any other letters. That one's kind of easy. How many words have A's as every second letter? My name's Adam. I come from Canada. Banana. A lot of words. So, the first and third letters are hard to distinguish. Now, the first could be a K, an M, a W, or an X, but indeed it actually resembles an M more than anything else. Now, the third could be a G, or maybe a V or a Y, but to me, it most resembles a G. So, if you ask me, this one is fairly evident. It does look like it says MAGA, not Kava, Zaga, or other nonsense combinations of potential letters. Now we can ask ourselves, could this be accidental? Well, let's do the math. There are 26 letters in the alphabet, and similarly 26 letters in the Autobot script. That means that there are a total of 26 to the power of 4, or 456,976 combinations. Could then this be random? There is a 1 in 456,976 chance that this randomly says MAGA. This isn't a good way of looking at these statistics. We instead would need to calculate the odds of these letters representing something as relevant or significant as the letters MAGA. Certainly, If it came out as a 4-letter swear word, one would not assume it was chance. But looking at a list of 4-letter Scrabble words, there are a lot of them, even though they're words, that I wouldn't think would have been an intentional spelling if this is what it really described. For example, CYMA, DHAK, OOHS, and WAES were just some random words that I picked out of that list, and none of these strike me as obviously meaning anything. Only one of those wasn't originally changed by my computer's autocorrect program when I typed it as well. Now, a Scrabble list I found online gives me 4,030 4-letter English words, of which all these nonsense ones were included. So, there's only a 0.88% chance, that's less than 1 in 100, that random letters would therefore spell a word. Now, MAGA isn't actually a word. It's actually an acronym, so it probably wouldn't be considered an English word. But the point is just that if it's unlikely that random letters are going to spell anything, then it's probably unlikely that they're going to randomly give an acronym that has some known significance to a lot of people. Additionally, if you ask someone to randomly put together characters to spell a 4-letter word in an alien dictionary, would they likely repeat any of those characters if there are only 4 of them? So if I were asked to arrange some Chinese symbols together to form a 4-symbol phrase, for example, it would not seem random for me to use one of those symbols more than once.
True, but given enough iterations, you actually should.
I should. So if I was truly doing random,
yes,
or if I was asking a computer to make it random, yes, there's actually a high probability that it would.
Right.
But just like if you spread pepperoni on a pizza randomly, they're not going to overlap because you're trying to if you're trying to make it look random, but that's not random.
I agree, but my point is we shouldn't use the average person's misunderstanding of randomness to justify the orientation of letters.
Sure. Absolutely. So, to me, it looks like this says MAGA, and it looks like it says it on purpose. But what's this thing about Jazz being black? Well, Transformers aren't human, so they don't have a particular ethnic heritage, but Jazz is generally considered to be a black Transformer. Fans of the 2007 Transformers film will remember him showing up with the quotes, "What's crackin', little bitches?" and "This looks like a cool place to kick it." That version of Jazz was portrayed by black actor Darius McCrary, also known as Eddie Winslow from Family Matters. In the original Transformers TV series, Jazz was portrayed by Scatman Crothers, a black singer, dancer, musician, and actor. Having this particular message displayed on Jazz is considered to be offensive to fans who would consider many of Donald Trump's policies to be less than supportive of people of color. I saw some people saying there are black Donald Trump supporters. That may be true. A quick look at some polling numbers showed that black support for Trump over Hillary Clinton in the election was at a time as low as 0 to 6%. My friend Zach suggested that he was going to modify his Jazz figure to display BLM in support of Black Lives Matter, which to me seems much more fitting. So, how could this possibly have happened? Similar Easter eggs have gotten by on toys before, such as innocuous things like a license plate having the name and date of birth of a fan. But these were likely the kind of things that Hasbro either knew about, Hasbro the company that makes the Transformers toys, that Hasbro either knew about, or if they learned about, they wouldn't consider to be a big problem. When reached for comment, they said that one of our vendors inserted this as part of the design without authorization. Now, this quote kind of confused me, but the use of the term vendor here just means it was a third-party person, sort of like a freelance employee that was hired to do that particular design work for that logo. It doesn't mean the person who's selling the actual toy. Now, they also stated that they do not intend for their products to carry political messages. Now, I think this is arguably untrue, depending on how you look at it, but I kind of understand their point. Autobot leader Optimus Prime's catchphrase, "Freedom is the right of all sentient beings," could certainly be considered to be a political statement by some. While there are not many people in 2017 who support slavery, making this a fairly uncontroversial statement in an age where some heads of state are virtually indistinguishable from cartoon supervillains, sometimes even the most seemingly agreeable statement can be considered political by some people.
That's true. Although I will say, because millions of people are enslaved, I think there might be tens of thousands of people, or if not millions, who do support slavery.
Absolutely. Now, not to mention what was included in the cartoons back in the 80s, a couple of episodes referenced the Socialist Democratic Federated Republic of Carbombia, where Carbombia City lists its population as 4,000 people and 10,000 camels. This obviously offensive name for a city and nation caused voice actor Casey Kasem, who was of Lebanese descent, to leave the show in protest. So it does indeed say MAGA, which stands for Make America Great Again, on the door of a recently released Transformers toy, Autobot Jazz, who is considered to be black. People are right to be annoyed by this, though it was likely not a conscious decision by Hasbro who released the product, but instead something done by a rogue freelance worker.
Thanks, Adam. And now we turn to Pat for another game of Name That.
All right, here we go with another edition of everyone's favorite mostly guessing game, Name That. Today we play Name That, Spot the Fake. I've combed through and fact-checked dozens of articles with titles like 27 facts that you won't believe are true, or 36 true facts that sound like lies. So it's very possible that you guys have heard some of these. We have 5 questions, no tiebreaker today. If we're tied after 5 questions, we'll end that way. For each question, I will give you 4 so-called facts and ask you to spot the fake. Christina, please take those 3 folded up pieces of paper and determine the order that we'll go in, and we'll stay in that order.
Oh, damn it. I'm first. Darren. I sound like I'm doing origami.
Exactly.
And Adam.
All right, question number 1. Christina, name that. Which of these is the fake? A, there is a psychological disorder called boanthropy, where a human believes himself or herself to be a bovine, an ox or a cow, and attempts to live and behave accordingly. B, frostbite is often preceded by a stage called frost nip. C, Pluto only made 2 full orbits around the sun between the time it was discovered and the time it was declassified as a planet. Or D, Bluetooth technology is named after a 10th century king, King Harold Bluetooth Gormson.
Good job, Pat.
Oh, this
well
is
done.
amazing. I'm going to go with C, Pluto.
Christina says C. Next is Darren.
I will commend you once again. This is quite amusing. In a field of difficult options, I will pick King Bluetooth.
Darren says D. And lastly, Adam.
These all sound true, but I will go with B, frostbite, frost snip. I think there's going to be some technicality, like they both exist, but they don't appear in succession because of some weird biological thing.
Adam goes with B. Pluto was discovered on February 18th, 1930. Yes. It takes the dwarf planet 248.09 Earth years to complete 1 orbit around the sun. And so Pluto will complete its first orbit since it was discovered on March 23rd, 2178.
My error was I should have listened better. I thought you said something like less than 2.
Yeah.
I'm like, it takes a while. That's fine, as opposed to 2.
Good one, Pat.
Question number 2. Darren, name that. Which one of these is the fake? A, caller ID is illegal in California. B, researchers have discovered the Viagra, dissolved in a vase of water, can double the shelf life of cut flowers, making them stand up straight for as long as a week beyond their natural lifespan.
I hope that one's true.
C, an octopus has 3 hearts. Or D, there are more kangaroos in Australia than humans by almost 2 to 1.
Whoa, 50 million roos? I guess I'll pick the Viagra one. I don't know.
Darren goes with B. Next to Adam.
I'm going to pick A because I believe caller ID is known to cause cancer and birth defects to the state of California.
So Adam says A, and lastly, Christina.
Yeah, I can't believe that caller ID is illegal in California, although I guess it wouldn't be that crazy considering how they roll, but I pick A.
So Christina agrees with Adam, and Christina and Adam are correct.
Oh.
Yes.
Caller ID is legal in California. However, the idea that it isn't comes from an incorrect so-called real fact printed on the lids of Snapple bottles. In a 2013 article for The Atlantic, Adrienne LaFrance fact-checked a number of Snapple's, air quotes, facts.
Oh, that's interesting.
Awesome.
Hi all, producer Pat here. We'll get back to the show in a second, but first a few words about our sponsors. We've used HelloFresh a few times now, and it really is pretty cool. A box shows up at your front door with step-by-step instructions and exactly the right amount of ingredients. There's no waste, just delicious meals. They do all the planning and shopping, you do the cooking. If you want to give it a try, HelloFresh is giving our Canadian checkers 50% off their first order. Go to hellofresh.ca and use the promo code REALITY50.
Hey checkers, if you're a freelancer or small business owner like me, you know how much accounting can suck up valuable time. FreshBooks makes ridiculously easy-to-use cloud accounting software that simplifies things like invoicing, tracking expenses, and receiving payments online. You can even take photos of receipts on your phone using FreshBooks mobile apps to make claiming expenses easier. Right now, you can try a 30-day unrestricted free trial with no credit card required by going to freshbooks.com/realitycheck and typing reality check in the How Did You Hear About Us section.
All right, back to the show. Question number 3. Adam, name that. Which of these is the fake? A, cats have 32 muscles in each of their ears. B, Food for the Poor is an American nonprofit. The name of the president and CEO is Robin Mafood.
Oh no.
C, a jiffy is the scientific name for 1/100th of a second. Or D, an astronaut can officiate marriages under Texas state law.
These are brilliant, Pat.
Yep.
I
agree.
Good. I'm going to say the astronaut one is false, so D.
Adam says D. Next is Christina.
I'm going to say C, Jiffy, because, I don't know, I can see you kind of trying to pull a fast one on that.
Christina says C. And lastly, Darren.
I'll be there in a jiffy. That seems... Again, well done, Pat. And 32 muscles in the ear seems high. I'll pick that.
Darren says A. Cats do have 32 muscles in each ear.
Wow.
Food for the Poor's CEO is Robin Mafood. A jiffy is a measure of time. An astronaut officiating marriages comes from a Reddit thread titled, "What's the most realistic fake fact that you can come up with?"
Oh, man. But that's really interesting that Jiffy is an actual... I never knew that.
That's probably where the expression comes from.
Yeah.
But just that term is so unknown, or is less known than the expression.
Yeah, that's why I thought he was trying to fool us with that
for
one.
sure.
But wow.
Pat, I just happened to Google Jiffy because I was curious. I just couldn't believe it. And it is indeed a unit of time, although it does seem to have different types of values depending on who's using it at what time and what decade. It goes from picoseconds, or 10 to the negative 24, all the way up to, as you said, 100th of a second, or maybe different times based on computer cycles or whatever else people want to measure.
And depending on the final score, we'll see if Darren officially protests the results of this question.
No, I think I'm in a hole.
Darren's in a bit of a hole, so I'm not too worried about it.
I'm in a bit of a jiffy hole, as some people use the term.
All right, question number 4. Christina, name that. Which of these is the fake? A, buzzards and vultures are the same animal. They're called buzzards when they're flying and vultures when they land.
That sounds ridiculous.
B, when the Mona Lisa was stolen from the Louvre in 1911, Pablo Picasso was among the suspects. C, the Russians showed up 12 days late for the 1908 Olympics in London because they were using the Julian calendar instead of the Gregorian calendar. Or D, each of the eyes of an ostrich is bigger than its brain.
Oh, I'm going to go with A, reluctantly.
Christina says A. Next is Darren.
Sorry, buzzard, vulture. I remember ostrich was the last one.
Buzzard, vulture, Pablo Picasso as a suspect for the Mona Lisa theft. Russians showed up 12 days late for the Olympics in 1908. And each eye of an ostrich is bigger than its brain.
You know, I hate to agree with Christina, but I think I will pick the buzzard vulture.
Darren agrees with Christina. Lastly, Adam.
I'm going to go with B, that Pablo Picasso was not a suspect for stealing the Mona Lisa.
Adam says B, and Christina and Darren are correct.
Yes!
Good job, Christina.
While the term buzzard and vulture are sometimes used interchangeably in the U.S. to describe the turkey vulture, it has nothing to do with whether or not they are in flight. In fact, buzzards and vultures are two unique birds. I pulled this from a YouTube video called Fake Facts, Let's Fool the World, which had nearly 3.5 million
Wow.
views.
Mister, I would hate to agree with Christina. If you had agreed with me on the first two, maybe you'd be further along there, Darren.
Maybe I'll be further along. Maybe I'll be further along in the game. I'll feel better about myself in the world. I'll get more points and have some social validation.
If you'd agreed with Christina in the second question, you would have predicted her answer.
Thank you, Adam.
Pointing it out.
So going into question 5, I have Christina with 3, Adam with 2, and Darren with 1.
I'm gonna nail it. I'm coming back.
Question number 5. Darren, name that. Which of these is the fake? A. Saudi Arabia imports camels from Australia. B. Many people believe that Thursday is named after the Norse god of thunder, Thor. It is in fact named after Thor's brother, Thur, Thur.
Played by Luke Hemsworth.
The least known Hemsworth of the bunch.
Well, he's in Westworld. He's just less attractive than his brothers. Sorry, Luke, if you're listening.
C. 1 out of every 10 Icelanders will publish a book in their lifetime. Or D. A koala's fingerprints are indistinguishable from a human's fingerprints.
I think we have to go with Thur. And also, Adam, I don't think he's necessarily less attractive facially, but he's just shorter.
Oh, we'll look at some pictures. It's
Shorter,
flagrant.
therefore less attractive.
I know. Christina is heightest, as many people are.
Yes.
Darren goes with B. Next is Adam.
I would love for the koala one to be true, but I mean, I saw a bunch at the San Diego Zoo. They're so small, I don't see how that could really work out.
Adam says D. And lastly, Christina.
I guess I'll go. The koala thing just seems so ridiculous, but I have a feeling that it's A, but I'm
take
going to go
Darren's
with
advice.
D.
Oh,
Thursday is named after Thor, who does not have a brother named Thur.
Yes! Gosh.
sorry, Luke.
As an aside, I thought the koala fingerprint fact was one of the most interesting I stumbled upon. There's a link to a live science article about it in our show notes, along with information about everything else we talked about in the game. So, Christina is your winner. Congratulations.
Yay!
Congratulations.
Yeah, congrats.
Thanks, Pat. That was just delightful. I wouldn't say it's delightful, but it might be important to talk about tilapia and omega-6s. A friend of mine sent me a link with the headline, quote, "This is why you need to stop eating tilapia ASAP," end quote. I can only imagine a listener is, right this moment, sitting down and eating tilapia, and they have paused their fork in midair, hanging on my every word. Write in if this is you, Phil, because we all know it is. Anyway, you can kind of guess the overall conclusion of that article, but what of the content?
Darren, did this friend send it to you as in, oh, check this out, this is probably BS, or did they send this to you in a, oh my gosh, you need to stop eating tilapia now kind of way?
Seemed to be more in the middle, actually. Like, hey, is this true? Does it make sense? Reviewing the article, it says seafood is good for getting nutrients. Okay, we'll accept that premise. And tilapia is the most farmed fish in the United States. But there are problems. It cites researchers from the Wake Forest University School of Medicine that show tilapia has much less omega-3 fatty acids than some other fish, but does have a lot of omega-6 fatty acids. The quantity of omega-6 in tilapia is higher than a hamburger or bacon. Now, Wake Forest sounds like a made-up university, but apparently is decently ranked, FYI.
Stay woke
I went
Wake
to the...
Forest.
Yeah, there you go. That's funny. I went to Wake Forest University School of Medicine. Oh, sure you did.
Shout out to any students who might be listeners.
Please read it. The article also talks about how tilapia could cause Alzheimer's because, quote, one of the omega-6 fatty acids in tilapia, by the name of arachidonic acid, a compound which significantly increases the type of inflammatory damage that precedes Alzheimer's.
Damn.
And that tilapia being farmed means it is eating fecal content and hormones and other bad things.
Oh.
And the ads on the site pattern match to websites I normally wouldn't trust. There's also no author and no date to the article.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah. This led to some searching on my part, soul searching, of course. No, Google searching, and I found a Globe and Mail article, which is Canada's national newspaper, a bit more legit, from 2008 by Carly Weeks, with the headline, "Farmed tilapia may be no better for you than a donut." Oh, snap. As I'm not a fish fan, that seems like a terrible trade. To eat something that is fish, but isn't healthier than a donut? That's cruel. But is it true? Weeks for the Globe and Mail writes that new findings, then new of course, indicate tilapia may be no better than dining on bacon, hamburgers, or donuts.
Wow.
So perhaps they read the same press release. For context, Weeks says that, quote, tilapia, a lean white fish with a mild taste, is the second most cultivated fish in the world after carp, according to Fisheries and Oceans Canada. While China is the world's leading producer of tilapia, British Columbia and Nova Scotia also produce it on a commercial scale. Shout out to our Canadian listeners.
Yeah.
The department said Toronto is North America's largest market for live tilapia, and the World Aquaculture Society predicts that production will rise steadily because of increased demands for the fish. FYI, tilapia is the common name for over 100 species of cichlid fish. Weeks also said that omega-6 fatty acids are considered to be essential and must be obtained through diet because they can't be produced by the body. That's basically the definition. But too much can contribute to cancer, asthma, depression, and heart disease, among other ailments. Sparing you more details of that article, all of it seems to hinge on this omega-6 fatty acid change, if that is bad for you, and the right ratio of omega-6 to omega-3 fatty acids. Let us briefly explore that, but first a qualifier. I find nutrition science to be one of the least robust and clear in terms of getting an understanding of what you should or should not be eating. There are so many variables that are hard to control for that a lot of it is just a mess. As such, I'd be quite wary of thinking you can get definitive, reliable personal nutritional advice from almost anywhere, aside from the basics. Eat more plants, less junk food. Hitting up good old Wikipedia, omega-6 fatty acids are a family of pro-inflammatory and anti-inflammatory polyunsaturated fatty acids. They have in common a final carbon-carbon double bond in the N6 position. That's the 6th part of the omega-6. That is the 6th bond, counting from the methyl end. For comparison, omega-3s are the 3rd bond.
Okay.
Quote, the biological effects of omega-6 fatty acids are largely produced during and after physical activity for the purpose of promoting growth and during the inflammatory cascade to halt cell damage and promote cell repair by their conversion to omega-6 substructures that bind to diverse receptors found in every tissue of the body. You run around, you do stuff happens, it tries to help.
But that has nothing to do with diet. That's produced in your body naturally when you're going about. That's kind of what it's saying?
When it's in your body, though.
Yeah.
You have to get it from your diet.
Okay.
I found this line was helpful setting up why omega-6 and 3 are compared and why there might be a problem. Quote, mammalian cells lack the enzyme omega-3 desaturase and therefore cannot convert omega-6 fatty acids to omega-3 fatty acids. Closely related omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids act as competing substrates for the same enzymes. This outlines the importance of the proportion of omega-3 to omega-6 fatty acids in a diet. In a way, omega-3s and omega-6s are competing for the same stuff, and because you can't convert 3 from 6. If there's too much 6, it takes up all the spots for 3. Apparently, chronic excessive production of omega-6 related chemicals is correlated with arthritis, inflammation, and cancer. As you well know, correlation is not causation. Too much omega-6 might cause inflammation, and inflammation is supposed cause of many other problems. Not a direct causal link there. There is some indication that a low ratio of omega-6 to omega-3 is good for humans. Wikipedia mainly sources one paper by Simopoulos in 2002 that said humans are thought to have evolved with a diet of 1-to-1 ratio of omega-6 to omega-3, and the optimal ratio is thought to be 4-to-1 or lower, with some studies putting it at 1-to-1. The current Western diet is about 16-to-1. Simopoulos said that the ratio of 2 or 3-to-1 omega-6 to omega-3 helped reduce inflammation in patients with rheumatoid arthritis. And a ratio of 5-to-1 had a beneficial effect on patients with asthma, but a 10-to-1 ratio had a negative effect. It also said in this abstract from the paper in 2002, a ratio of 2.5-to-1 reduced rectal cell proliferation in patients with colorectal cancer, whereas a ratio of 4-to-1 had no effect. But this was just the abstract.
Oh, so basically you need an abacus to figure all this stuff out.
So I assume, because they had multiple trials, they picked some sort of ratio and then used that to study that particular control group. I certainly don't feel confident saying much more, but if you're a molecular biologist or a nutritionist, feel free to write in. So, should you eat tilapia? Seems like the segment was veered off course, but I don't think that's true. People were concerned about tilapia mostly because of the omega-6 issue. Given it has a lot more protein, little sugar, and fat, to compare it to a donut is absurd. It raises the issue of how two things are the same and how they are different, and how it is important to understand what matters, in what way, and to what degree. So it's like, if the omega-6 thing is the only part that's like a donut, it's not like a donut. It's like fish, which has a lot of protein, little fat, and may have a high amount of omega-6 compared to other fishes.
It's like when we're comparing cigarettes to sitting on the couch, right? They're not the same metric,
Right.
Yeah, and it also would make a terrible headline
Exactly.
for something.
Yeah.
Tilapia is like other fish and may not be as good sometimes. As a different Wikipedia article said, that one could mitigate the nutritional concerns many have about tilapia by feeding the farm fish flaxseed derivatives. This seemed to have some effect already. Has that been incorporated into the tilapia you might eat? I have no idea. Cooking with flax, canola, or hemp oil is probably better than many others for the ratio issue. Again, it's a nutritional issue which is hard to definitively resolve, but at least now you're more informed about the debate.
I like tilapia.
It's definitely a thing here in Toronto. You see it on a lot of menus. Like it's very, very popular here.
It's a white fish,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I don't
Yes.
like white fish, so.
That's what I thought was interesting, Darren, is that you mentioned that it was like this wide range of fish. So tilapia is like a catchphrase for
100 different.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was super interesting to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't eat fish a lot. I don't like it. I'm like, I didn't even know what tilapia was. I'm like, oh, that's what tilapia is. I see.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for listening, everyone. Adam made a compelling case that there was an intentional usage of the Make America Great Again initialism in a toy. Pat gave us a delightfully amusing and informative game of Spot the Fake, which we look forward to having next time. And I espouse the beautiful words of wisdom about tilapia and omega-6s. Until next time, think better to act better.
Peace out, Allspark Cuboids.
Stay classy, not smartassy.
good night, everyone.
For show notes or to discuss this episode, visit our Facebook page and website at trcpodcast.com. For general inquiries or to send a topic or parody suggestion, email info@trcpodcast.com. Help support the show by leaving a review on iTunes and liking us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter at TRC_podcast.
While China is the world's leading producer of While China,
Producer.
exactly, a producer, Pat. Whoa! I almost slipped into Mario there.